Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of Roy and Lillie, a love story, by Loren D. Estleman, narrated by George Guidall. The author begins with a quote from an introduction to Aesop's Fables by Isaac Bashevis Singer. The fable taught man that there is sometimes a deep truth behind obvious falsehood. And now, Roy and Lillie.
For starters, he was a scoundrel on the large scale of West Texas, a killer, thief, and corrupt public servant who imported the custom of public lynching to the Lone Star State. In the saloon he used for a courthouse, he sold grizzly bear jism as an aphrodisiac and charged a penny extra for ice-cold beer poured ostentatiously over a lump of glass he used repeatedly until he dropped it and it broke. The citizens of Langtry, Texas, called him the law west of the Pecos, and it seems he was, for a time, or as much of it as one could expect to find out there among the fangs and spines. When at long last he died, the town went dark in a display of public mourning. She was an actress of almost unearthly beauty, with a voice like a silver flute and a waist as slender as her neck. She collected jewels and lovers, including the Prince of Wales, and paraded them through the gas-lit theatres and oil-smudged music halls of London, San Francisco, and the gold camps of the frontier for a quarter-century. Whether she could act is of no consequence. Portrait painters and the press called her the Jersey Lily, although many considered the horticultural variety drab in comparison. In her day she was world-famous, but history remembers her chiefly as the platonic love interest of Roy Bean, whose notoriety in life stopped at the Arkansas border. She smoked cigarettes in carved ivory holders and bathed with rose petals. He spat tobacco into a fire bucket and put on a clean shirt over a dirty one to receive important visitors. They corresponded. No letters survive. Theirs was the perfect romance, unalloyed with squabbles or disappointments or unpleasant revelations or the boredom of familiarity. They never met. This is their story, after the native fashion of tall tales, illegible journals, newspaper fantasies, self-serving memoirs, axes to grind, and bald-faced lies that historians ferret out and present as fact. Most of what follows happened. The reader will sort the remainder into separate piles of implausible truth and acceptable legend. Roy said it best: there are more ways than one of doing business. Part 1. The Cock and the Jewel. A cock scratched up a precious stone and said, "If you had been discovered by your owner, you would have been taken up and displayed with pride. But I have found you for no reason. One barleycorn is worth more to me than all the world's jewels." Aesop. Chapter 1. His reputation, like the lust for Stetsons and high-heeled boots, started at the state line, and he made the most of it by plastering the front of the Jersey Lily with signs, ice-cold beer and law west of the Pecos, and placing himself on display in a rocking chair on the porch at train time. Earlier, he'd bribed conductors and porters to prime passengers for the big attraction, but the railroad men were willing enough to spread the stories free of charge, so eventually he returned his poke to his pocket. Roy was scrupulous when it came to his own money. Pilgrims who witnessed this exhibition of living waxworks noted that physically the man matched his legend, and assumed he was born fully fleshed out in his 7th decade, with his belly spilling through the banker's waistcoat, buttoned only at the top, tumbleweed whiskers, and eyes that glistened like damp plums under a sombrero with a buggy wheel brim. But in his youth he was a frontier Apollo, tall and raw-boned, with a bristling black beard, a landlocked pirate prince who shot a man in San Diego, California, over an affair of the heart and spent his period of incarceration accumulating poundage from a steady supply of cold chicken and enchiladas.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?